Freddy Krueger, Freddy Krueger, Freddy Krueger, Freddy Krueger. Oh, this is Mr. Hornsby 83. This is the Mr. Hornsby 83 show, and that was terrible singing. But I am here today because I am doing a topic video and talking about some things I should fix with the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I'm going to be doing a topic video on things they should fix with the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. But before I get into it, got a few birthday shout outs to put out today because we had 3 birthdays in my family this past week. First one, I guess I'll start with today. This one's a sad one because she's no longer here, but happy heavenly birthday to my mom up in heaven. Passed away in 2018, and yeah, terrible time. 2018, what a terrible year. Alright, now let's get to my butthead nephew Dylan. Happy birthday, Dylan. And then my little sweet niece Adeline. So happy birthday to all of them, and a happy heavenly birthday to my mother. Yeah. Time of year is always tough for me. Same as the time of year when it's about time from the anniversary of my mom passing. So pretty tough day for me, some unviewed things. But anyway, let's get into Nightmare on Elm Street. And in honor of, since Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4 are my mom's 2 favorites, I'm going to talk about Nightmare on Elm Street 3 or 4 things they could have fixed for those movies. Now, people say, well, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, that was a perfect movie. But there is one asterisk on it. And I'll talk about that asterisk here in a minute. Get my freaking leg pants up because my freaking legs are sweating like crazy. So we turned the air conditioners off because it's a little cooler outside. But anyway, and I got my fan turned toward me. But let's talk about the big asterisk with Nightmare on Elm Street 3. And one of the biggest issues with that one is the fact that Nancy was so dumb that she fell for Freddy's trick. Let's not forget, Nancy was a character who outsmarted Freddy in Nightmare on Elm Street 1. And then, in 3, she falls for the trick of Freddy turned into her dad and say, oh, I've crossed over, baby. And she's like, well, what does that mean? She pulled an Al Pacino. What does that mean? What does that mean? What's that mean, crossed over? What does that mean? I've bashed the character of Nancy over this for years and years and years, but they easily could have had Freddy just, make it seem like they, make it seem like they won and all that, like they did. And then Freddy pops up, almost kills Kristen, but frickin' Alice dives in the way or something to, take the stabbing or whatever. And that could have been not Alice, Lisa Wilcox must be thinking about me, But, Nancy could have frickin' took the dive right in front before Freddy hit the landing blow on Kristen to kill Kristen. And that's how she saved Kristen. But, I don't know. Maybe people might think that's silly and goofy and campy or whatever. But by Nightmare on Elm Street 3, it was getting silly, goofy, and campy anyway. I mean, come on now. The dream powers, I'll talk about that when I start talking about some topics. But I'll talk about the fixed stuff first, I guess. But yeah, fix that. Not only that, give these Dream Warriors better powers. Because the Dream Warriors, their powers could have been easily obtained by a number of different ways outside of frickin' being in the dream world. Because, well, outside of the nerdy dude who frickin' wants to be the Wishmaster. And, it's hard to frickin' learn, once you've lost the uses of your legs, you can't get them back. But the other Dream Warriors powers are kind of freaking silly and goofy. Because, you know, Kincaid is super strength. Guess what? These kids are freaking rich and they live in the suburbs. They couldn't go to a freaking gym and Kincaid couldn't go to a gym and work out to get super strong. Let's talk about Taryn. Taryn's power is she's bad and beautiful. Heck, she can be bad all she wants, and she can be beautiful. All she gotta do is go to a beauty salon to freaking be beautiful. Kristen's. Let's get to Kristen. Kristen's real dream power was pulling people into her dreams. That's a real dream power. That's something people can't do. They can't pull someone else in their dream with them. Kristen could. But Kristen's dream power was gymnastics and doing karate. But yet she could have did that if she took karate classes and gymnastic classes. Unreal. And we know Joey's real dream power was not freaking talking. We all know that. That scene that came before with him and the nurse, that's where Joey wanted to unleash his real dream power on that nurse. Now the nurse turned out to be Freddie, but Joey wanted to unleash his real dream power on that nurse. I mean, come on now. Them are lame freaking powers. I mean, yeah, like I said, Kristen's freaking pulling people into the dream. That's a real power. And the nerdy dude who wanted to be the wizard master. And walk. And yeah, people can say, well, he could have went through physical therapy to be able to walk in. Yeah, he could have. But, you know, come on now. I don't know. They should have freaking, they should have gave him better dream powers. I mean, come on now. Being bad and beautiful, gymnastics, and freaking being strong. You could have achieved that easily with how rich these kids are supposed to be. Especially Kristen. Her mom had a freaking maid. We find out about Teresa at the beginning of the freaking movie, so I don't know. Alright, now with Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. One thing I would change with that is, you know, maybe Kristen should have lasted a little bit longer. Maybe Kincaid and Joey should have lasted a little bit longer. But honestly, I get what they were trying to say. Well, like, yeah, all the stakes are high in this one, and this is the focus. It's Freddy's going to be the focus, and yada, yada, yada. Plus, you didn't even have Patricia Arquette come back, which that's something they could have fixed. They could have easily got Patricia Arquette back, but apparently she didn't want to do horror movies anymore, so I don't know. But, you know, when horror is what makes it popular, sometimes you go back to it. But then again, you got people like Jamie Lee Curtis. So every time Jamie Lee Curtis came back to the Halloween movies outside the first two, really ruined the franchise, in my opinion. You know, so, yeah. Even though H2O is a good movie, but then you got 2018, then you got Kills, and then you got Ends. I don't know. I don't like 18, and, you know, Ends is alright, but, you know, and I love Kills. I love Kills. I mean, Kills is good. But, yeah, I mean, every time Jamie Lee comes back, she ends up ruining the frickin' Halloween movies anyway. So, I don't know. If she wants things to go her way in the movie, I don't know. But anyway, yeah. Alright. Yeah, that's probably the only thing I fixed about Part 4. You know, and everybody makes fun of the part where Rick frickin' karate fights the air. Because Freddy's invisible. That was Rick's dream. I mean, you see. At the beginning of the movie, he's karate fighting the air. Rick, that's Rick's dream. He got to live his dream. I'm pretty sure he was thanking Freddy for letting him live his dream of fighting the air. I mean, come on now. Oh yeah, it is a silly, goofy scene, but come on. That's Rick's dream, man. He always wants to beat up the air. He's got a feud with the air. Aaron must have said something about Mrs. Johnson really bad. You know. Must have made fun of frickin' Alice and frickin' Rick's mom or something. I don't know. That air did something to Rick to make him fight. Alright, this is getting off the rails and I'm being silly, but anyway. Let's go to... Let's go to... Nightmare on Elm Street 6. What they gonna fix about that? They should have made Jacob the main character. Like, you know, let's say Alice moves away from Elm Street. She moves Jacob away, but then Jacob somehow is drawn back to Elm Street. And then, like, because Freddy needs somebody to frickin', you know, bring him to his daughter. You could have still did all that stuff and had Jacob. Or, you know, maybe Alice felt like, well, you know, we don't have to deal with Freddy no more. We could stay in Elm Street. I mean, Springwood. I think it should, that's how you could have fixed Nightmare on Elm Street 6. There was a lot of things you could have fixed about that movie. Well, you know what? Even though the movie's bad, I still enjoy the movie. I watch it every year when it gets around Halloween time like it is now. We're always watching Nightmare on Elm Street. We're always watching Friday the 13th. We're always watching Halloween in some way or form. So, yeah. And one of the ones we watch when we watch the Nightmare on Elm Street movies is usually part 6. Because I like 6. Bad movie. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a bad movie, but, you know, I still like it. It's not my favorite. I mean, I think 4 has kind of become my new favorite because it was 5, but, yeah. We're going to talk about 5 in a minute, too, how they could have fixed that one as well. No. So, yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, that's how you fix Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6. Make it about Alice, or, you know, continue the Freddy and frickin' Amanda Kruger stuff, because that's something I liked about Part 5, was the Freddy, and, you know, I think, you know, had they followed up with Amanda Kruger, and not just 3 and 5, had they had her something to do with it in Part 4 as well, would have made sense, but I get it, they were trying to establish a new character, Alice, and a new character that was going to be in Nightmare on Elm Street. So they just said, let's get Amanda Kruger out of here. Although they do make, she's a big part of the story in Part 5. But, yeah. I don't know. But, I don't know. Honestly, another way you could have fixed Part 6, had Catherine turn on everybody at the end. She goes crazy and becomes Freddy's apprentice or something. Since that's her father. I don't know. I'm joking about that one, but yeah. Well, apparently they did it in the comic, Freddy vs. Jason comic. And, you know, she kills Neil, who I guess got over Alice, or got over. See, there we go again. Got over Nancy, and freaking moved on to freaking Catherine. Also, I think you take the 3D element out of Nightmare on Elm Street 6, and then that would have probably made it a little bit better movie, too. But, yeah. The movie's been made. It is what it is. I mean, can't undo it now. Kind of like you can't undo Nightmare on Elm Street 2010. Which I'll talk about that movie later. Anyway, let's get to Part 5. Let's talk about some ways you could have fixed Part 5. First off, with Part 5, what you could have did... You could have fixed, you know, could have let Dan live a little bit longer, since he's the only one that knows what's going on with Alice. Instead, you know, by the middle of the movie, she's freaking clinging to Mark, who's believing her and all that stuff. I was like, dude, I guess cause they both were grieving because she lost Dan and he lost freaking Greta, and he gets killed by a comic book. See? Comic books can kill you. No. But, yeah, I also think, I don't know, implementing more of the frickin' stuff centered around the baby more would have been a little bit more. Instead the focus, and you know, yeah, Alice, but, you know, Alice became a parent once she got pregnant with Jacob, so how is she still knowing about Freddy? Why is she still talking about Freddy and that when, you know, most of the parents, when they become parents, they don't talk about Freddy. Or most of the parents that killed Freddy don't talk about him. But I don't know. Kind of like the thing with frickin' It. That's kind of a similar story to it because it had that same similar thing in it. But I don't know. I think also actually doing something where the characters actually believe Alice might have helped the movie a little bit too, because people get annoyed with how stupid these kids have been in every movie. And this is the 5th movie in the freaking franchise, and you people still don't believe that Freddy Krueger's alive when you've seen so many friends die without any reasons and all that stuff. And then y'all think that Alice is crazy, or you think Nancy is crazy, or you think Kristen is crazy, or you think, you know, Jesse's crazy. I don't know, man. You know, at some point, when enough people say it, it happens to be true. But you know what? That's not the case. These kids still say, "Oh no, that's gibberish. You're crazy, Alice. You're crazy, Kristen. Oh, you're crazy, Nancy." Like, I mean, come on now. Something else they could have fixed with frickin' Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is having the character of frickin' Max actually believe the kids. Because because Max, he saw what happened to Jennifer. She's sitting on the couch. How in the world does he come to the conclusion that it was suicide with her head in the frickin' TV? A high-up TV, might I add. High-up TV. No stand underneath her or nothing. But yet, it's a suicide. Because Sims is frickin', that was Sims' go-to throughout all of Nightmare on Elm Street 3. It's a suicide. It was a suicide. It was a suicide. Then when Neil starts believing and he tries to do something about it, he gets fired. And you know, the guy freaking talks about, oh, two kids are dead and then a kid in a coma. Whatever you're trying failed entirely. Well, whatever Sims is doing ain't working either. Why wasn't she fired? Another thing I think they should have fixed with the Nightmare on Elm Street overall is the parents should have realized that Freddy was real. I know they want to deny it and keep it quiet so that it wouldn't cause mass hysteria, cause all kinds of kids to panic. But the fact that the parents never acknowledged, like part 3, you know, when Nancy goes to get her dad's help to find the remains for Freddy with Neil, and you know, her dad's like, well, Fred Krueger's dead. You've had a little bit of issue. But yeah, in the frickin' first movie, he acts like he don't know who the hell Freddy Krueger is. Yeah, who's Freddy Krueger? What is that name? What is that name? I don't know that name. You know, and I get it. Maybe he was covering it up. But there is a deleted scene that's going to be, I guess it's going to be added to these 4K ones where, you know, it shows that, you know, Glenn's parents and, you know, Nancy's dad and all them know about Freddy Krueger. You know, I don't know. That's kind of an inconsistent, that's a storyline they should have, you know, stuck in the movies. You know, the parents know, but they want to deny it because they don't want the kids to spread mass panic and give Freddy his strength. But I'm pretty sure by this point in the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, they don't know about his power. That, you know, because like with Sims, you know, if they made it more obvious the parents were covering it up, that'd be a different story. But they don't really make it obvious, especially in the first Nightmare on Elm Street. They don't make it obvious the parents are covering it up. They would have made it more obvious that the parents were covering it up, then okay, we could buy that, you know, Nancy's dad all along knew Freddy was alive. He just was trying to cover it up because, you know, all that stuff. But, yeah. Anyway. Alright. Talk about, let's fix the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street movie. The first thing I would do, because honestly, I didn't mind the fact that they revealed what he was in that 2010 movie. But because they kind of insinuated in Freddy vs. Jason. But after that, to have frickin' Freddy say that tasteless joke was just terrible. You know, these kids just found out that this guy molested them, and then he's making a joke about, how's this for a wet dream? And she's falling in blood and all that. I'm like, she didn't have no freaking wet dream. I would probably have wet dreams as you. You're the one having wet dreams about these freaking kids because you're a sicko. But, you know, you're going to sit there and give that line. That line should not have been put in after the freaking fact they find out he's a freaking molester. That line should not have been put in at all. It's one of the things I didn't like about it. And I know everyone's like, oh, we don't like the whole story that he's a molester. But it's insinuated. I mean, look what he freaking did in the beginning of Freddy vs. Jason. He's looking at a picture of a kid he killed. Weirdly. So, yeah, I mean... So, yeah. That tasteless line should not have been put in after they just found out he molested them. If they put it early in the movie, that's a different story. But after they just found out he freaking molested them, and he's like, oh, how's this for a wet dream? I don't know. That's the only thing I didn't like about that movie. Because I thought Jackie Earle Haley was pretty good. Although the girl that played Nancy was boring. She was lame. Wish she would have died and they would have kept Tina this time. Glenn isn't Glenn this time. He's Quentin, and he survives throughout the movie. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I took the tasteless line out of frickin' him saying, how's this for a wet dream? After they just found out he frickin' molested them. With Freddy vs. Jason, one thing I would change about that is make it Kane Hodder Jason. That guy that was Jason in Freddy vs. Jason. And the guy's like, oh, that guy had a robotic performance and blah, blah, blah. The frickin' guy who played Jason in Freddy vs. Jason had a robotic performance too, so yeah. And Kane Hodder did not have robotic performances as Jason from 7 on to frickin' X. I don't know where he got that idea at, but yeah, I would have frickin' had Kane Hodder play Jason. And I wouldn't have made Jason out to be a good guy either, because Jason's just as evil as Freddy. Yeah, Jason frickin' was bullied and all that, and Freddy did what he did because he just felt like doing it. But to make Jason out to be the good guy, especially when he's killed half the frickin' stars of the frickin' movie, it was just ridiculous to me that they made it out to be Jason the hero. Instead, they could have done something where they made a deal with Freddy or something, but then Freddy double crosses them or whatever. But, you know, making Jason out to be the frickin' hero, because neither one of these guys are frickin' heroes in this movie. They're both evil. They both kill people for the hell of it. So, I mean, yeah, Jason does it when they go to Crystal Lake and all that. But then he's killed people at Packanack. Then he's killed people at the frickin', where else? They ain't killed frickin' people at Jarvis' house and that. They weren't at Crystal Lake. They might have been a little bit up the road from Crystal Lake. But they weren't at Crystal Lake. And he still killed them. You know, that's the only thing I didn't like about Freddy vs. Jason. Is like, are they really making Jason out to be the good guy? He's killed half the frickin' people in this movie. And he's the one that frickin'... You know, at least they know Freddy, you know... I don't know. They could have, you know, the girl could say, alright, I'll make a deal with you, Freddy. I'll help you get out of the dream world so you can fight Jason and shut him down if you don't kill us. And then Freddy gets out, possibly beats Jason, and then betrays him and just tries to kill him anyway. I don't know. Something like that would have been... instead of making Jason out to be the good guy, because, you know, I just thought that was stupid. Anyway, that's all the fixes I would make for some of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Now let's talk about a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street news that have come out lately. Well, not too much, but a little bit of news. So, actually, you know what? I want to talk about the Freddy's Nightmare TV show, because I hear so many people talk bad about the show. I actually kind of like that show. I thought the show was pretty good. Especially the Freddy episodes. Like, the Freddy-centric episode was really good. You know, Freddy frickin', you know, coming after people, and, you know, since I am doing a Freddy Krueger video, I didn't have a can So I had to pull, but I still got the can holder up. Put it up. But, you know, I think the Freddy's Nightmare show was pretty good. And they showed how Freddy died. And now, yeah, I don't know if it's canon to the movies because, like, supposedly it was supposed to be Nancy's parents that led the charge and whatever, but this guy was not Nancy's parent, and Freddy killed him. So, I don't know. I don't even think they mentioned Nancy or her parents in this movie, in this show. Because the pilot was, you know, the Freddy trial and how, you know, Freddy was able to get off and all that stuff. And I really liked the show. And I felt like, you know, some of the other stuff they did with it was pretty interesting. And it's kind of like with Haddonfield, how, you know, they have Michael Myers pass the evil on to Corey and Halloween Ends, and then they had him pass on the frickin' evil to Jamie temporarily in Halloween 4. But, yeah. That shows the evil of Springwood. Now Freddy just, you know, maybe Freddy manipulated all that stuff. Maybe he was controlling it from the dream world. Yeah, I don't know. That could be a case. I noticed they did use a lot of actors from the movies. Like they had frickin' Dan's dad in one episode. I think it's the episode that had Laura Parker in it. After the episode where her boyfriend got shot. Yeah, so I don't know. I think Freddy's Nightmare was a really good show. I wish it would have ran longer, but it only ran like 2 seasons. And then it ended. Now let's talk about the news. Yes, I just talked about it a minute ago, but Nightmare on Elm Street, the movies are getting 4K releases. So many people's excited about it. I got the Blu-ray one that came out, what was it, 2011? I'm like, daggone, I didn't even realize that it had been that long since that came out. But, you know, I just hope when they come out with these 4K releases that they don't have, you know, that they don't wipe out the music videos that were at the end of 3, 4, and 5. I like those. Also hope that they put the Freddy's Nightmares episodes on there too, because they had 2 episodes for Freddy's Nightmare from that one box set. So hopefully they do that. Supposed to be adding a bunch of deleted scenes, like a scene where Dan, like extended Dan kill. I don't know. People apparently are excited for that. I don't know. I mean, I'm excited for it because I'm an Alice guy. Screw Nancy, man. Alice was way hotter. Alice was way hotter, yeah. Oh yeah, Alice. Nancy, she was pretty, but she's not as pretty as Alice. Anyway, maybe it's just my thing for blondes, I don't know. But, yeah. So, I don't know. Hopefully the 4K set brings out some stuff. Hoping that we get some more NECA figures of Nightmare on Elm Street, because we still got 4, 5, and 6 to tackle. And New Nightmare. So, I don't know. We still got 4, 5, and 6 and New Nightmare to tackle for the freaking Ultimate figures from NECA. I want to see a freaking Super Freddy in the Ultimate form. I don't want no stupid cloth one. Anyway, that cloth one's like expensive anyway. Yeah, I want a Super Freddy. Freaking Ultimate Super Freddy. They made the freaking giant predator from Predators. You can make a Super Freddy. Because, you know, even though, you know, people say that movie's bad, at one point, Nightmare on Elm Street 5 was my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Then I realized 4 also had Alice, and then I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, 4 is definitely a better movie than 5. Yeah, honestly it is. But, yeah. Think about it though, Alice is the only one that survived 2 encounters with Freddy. Everyone else that had a second encounter with Freddy ended up dying. I mean, freaking Nancy, she got killed. Kristen got killed. Kincaid and Joey got killed after a second encounter with Freddy. Rick got to live his dream by karate fighting the air. See, I can laugh at that scene. I mean, honestly. Every time I watch that movie, I just like, you know, he's living his dream. This ain't a nightmare for Rick. This is a freaking dream. He wants to fight the air. Jacob, John survives doesn't survive a second encounter with Freddy. Because we see, you know, John has the encounter with Freddy at the beginning of the movie. But then he freaking gets killed. Anyhow, it makes sense if they would have had Jacob the main character, because then Jacob would have the right to think he was Freddy's kid. Unlike frickin' John, who nobody knows who the hell John Doe is. We didn't even get his real name, so I don't know. Ends up dying under a false name. It was Jacob. I mean it. It was Jacob. It was frickin' Jacob. Screw that. Because, you know, you think about it, at the beginning of Nightmare on Elm Street 6, they have the poem, and then you hear Jacob's laughing in the background from the 5th movie. I'm like, it's Jacob. Screw this. It's Jacob. It is frickin' Jacob. Maybe the 4K frickin' thing will clear it up. I don't know. But, you know, even so, that would be a lame way for Jacob to die. Anyway. After being the main focus of Part 5, kinda. I mean, the main focus was Alice, but then the next main focus was Jacob. Yeah. Who knows? This is crazy with this. Alright. Now I want to talk about a theory I heard a while back, and this was from that Lost Legend guy that I gave a shout out to several weeks ago. And he talked about, you know, when he did the 10 things he couldn't answer about freaking Nightmare on Elm Street 3. He said, well, wait a minute, is New Nightmare the dream world that Kristen put out Nancy in? I'm like, and he's like, well, maybe so, because, you know, Freddy finds her, you know, the theory, he was saying a lot about the theory, but, yeah. I think that's a good theory. Maybe New Nightmare is a beautiful dream that Nancy dreamed, or that Kristen dreamed Nancy into. And then things go to hell when Freddy comes to life. Comes back, finds her. Freddy finds her and comes and, you know, ruins that beautiful dream that frickin' Kristen put her in. I mean, that's a good theory. I think it's a pretty solid theory. So yeah, maybe that's what it was, you know, that, you know, Kristen dreamed Nancy into that beautiful dream world. And now she's there. And then when Kristen died, she went to that dream world with Nancy, so she could be with Nancy again. Nancy was a better mother to her than her own mother. Because her own mother was too worried about what tennis guy she could bring home. Maybe Spencer's dad crossed paths with Kristen's mom. I don't know. Maybe that's, you know, maybe that's Spencer's mom is Kristen's mom. Who knows? Maybe that's why Freddy killed him, because he knew it was Kristen's brother. I don't know. Yeah, I'll talk about that in another video, but yeah. So anyway, yeah. That's pretty much all my theory. That's pretty much everything I want to talk about with the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Talk about some fixes I want to make. Talk about wanting some more NECA figures of the Nightmare on Elm Street figures. You know what? Since they are ending, what's it called? Crap. Those one movies. Shit. What's the movies called? The Conjuring. Since they're ending The Conjuring, since there's no more Scream movies coming out, oh, no, we know. Well, I mean, we got Scream 7 next year, but I think Paramount owns the rights to Scream movies. I don't know. Since all that's done, let's get a new Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Come on now. Freddy has not had a new movie since 2010. I'm talking about an original timeline. Freddy has not had a new movie since 2003. I keep forgetting Freddy vs. Jason came out. Although I liked Freddy vs. Jason. I thought it was a pretty good movie. And I just talked about the movie. But it took them 10 freaking years to get that movie going, though. 10 freaking years. We need a new Nightmare on Elm Street movie. We haven't had a Nightmare on Elm Street movie since 2010. It's been 15 years since we've had a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Give us a freaking Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Since they're going to finish with The Conjuring. And hopefully Scream 7's the last Scream. I mean, 5 and 6 was not that great. I don't care for 4 either. I think it was perfect the way it ended with 3. She found out that her brother was behind it the whole frickin' time. And he's dead. We got frickin' Dewey and Gail had a happy ending. Sydney got her happy ending, and then we had to go and do 4. Because her cousin was jealous, because Sydney Prescott got a lot of popularity just because she was about to be killed by psycho killers. I mean, come on now. New Nightmare on Elm Street movie, come on. And a new Nightmare on Elm Street game, new NECA figures, everything. I want to see Freddy Krueger make a comeback. Because Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers are like probably my 2 favorite horror franchises ever out there. Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween. And then after that it's frickin' Friday the 13th, then it's frickin' Pinhead, aka Hellraiser. Then it's Chucky, then it's Leprechaun, yeah. Anyway. That'll do it. Don't forget to tune in this Friday for the big frickin' wrestling live stream. I'm going to be talking about a lot of wrestling stuff. I'm going to talk about this new WWE TNA partnership. I've touched on it a little bit through other wrestling videos I've done. I didn't talk about it too much. Talk about AEW's future. Talk about how no company is ever going to get anywhere close to what WCW did in the late 90s to dethrone WWE as a top company. Now, I might be wrong. Maybe AEW does get there, but I don't know. Tony Khan still has some questionable booking decisions that he usually has. So, we'll see. We'll be talking about this wrestling figure news that we might be seeing new wrestling figure lines at Walmart and Target, which would be interesting. But, you know, one of those companies has been under a lot of frickin' scrutiny lately that's supposed to be putting these new wrestling figure line at Target and Walmart. And I'll talk about all that Friday. Now I'll probably do a short tomorrow instead of going to the Not My Newport. Probably do like something showing up, because I'll probably be walking from Cincinnati to get to Newport after I get off the bus. So I'll show off some of the graffiti, nothing too grotesque. There's a lot of graffiti on the Cincinnati Bridge, but anyway. And yeah, I have calmed down from frickin' the rage I had yesterday in that short about frickin' the Colts choosing Daniel Jones over Anthony Richardson as the starting quarterback. I have no hope for this season this year. Usually I have some kind of hope for my Colts season every year, but not this year. Not this year. No hope at all. Hopefully I'll be proven wrong, but I doubt it. Anyway, catch you guys later. Peace out. See you Friday.